Hey guys, I've noticed recently that a lot of people are making sawhorses, and I thought, good idea for a project. I could use a pair of sawhorses. I'm making larger and larger things, and I don't have the room inside here. So, I got some scrap stock left over from another build, and we're gonna slap something together. These are not gonna end up being one solid piece. Um, think of like a police barricade where it's got a solid bar on top, piece of wood usually, and then it's got 2 feet so that it can be taken apart and it folds up really small. What I got, a piece of 2x4 steel tubing. You can see. I'm going to cut that up into roughly 4-inch sections, and then I'm going to weld on some legs that I probably find in this mess somewhere. I might just use this square stock or maybe some round stock. And see how it goes. I'm expecting the legs to be a little flimsy, but I have a plan to strengthen them up a little bit. So after I get some steel cut, I'll come back and have a look. Alright, so I got the majority of the pieces cut out. This is basically the not this and not this. These are the majority of the parts. And you get a better idea of what I'm building. If I put that there, I put a little bend in the end of that there. Basically, all I did was I bent it, and I had another piece that was straight sitting next to it. And I bent it so that there was about a 9-inch gap between the straight one and the bent one, and then I bent all of them so that the feet, these are the feet, will be 18 inches apart. So all that's going to happen is that's going to get welded on there, and there'll be another one on the other side just like it, and a piece of 2x4 will slide through the end there. Just like that. Another one on the other end, and you got yourself a sawhorse. So I'm going to get to welding, and I'll be back in just a sec. Alright, there's the first one all tacked together. Didn't really do any measuring. You might still be able to see on this side, yeah. You can see there's a line there. That was just a soapstone mark I put on to make sure that the first leg was straight. I put it on the others as well. Yeah, I slapped it on there. It wasn't. There's no measurement across for that line. It's just it's a parallel line, parallel with one edge, so that I could match up the leg to make everything square. And then for the other leg, all I did was I used my eye, which was a little difficult, but as you can see, it is pretty square. So I'm going to finish welding these up and show you the whole thing when it's complete. Alright, they're all welded together. Excuse the air conditioner. They're all welded together. You can see here, it's not a full weld all the way around, but what I did is I just tacked it in the top and the bottom, and then I welded between those 2 tacks, and that should be just fine. Kind of one of my rules of thumb with non-critical items, i.e. Things that don't have to be a certain weight or things that don't have to be a certain size, something that I'm just making for the sake of making it. I always try to make sure that it's strong enough to support my own weight. So, as you can see, I'm sitting on this guy and my 2 feet, although I'm having trouble getting my balance. And this one, not this one bracket, but this one bar is supporting my whole weight. So, good enough for me. A couple things, if I were to make these again, I would change. And I still might actually change. These are roughly 18 inches from foot to foot. If I were to do this again, I'd make them probably 20 to 22 inches. They're a little tall. The original plan was to weld the top of this flush with this. I changed it up a little bit. I figured this might be a little bit better design, having the bend here. And so they ended up being about 2 or 3 inches taller than I assumed they would be. Not a big deal. They're still a comfortable height to work with, so I'm not upset about that at all. Something I was worried about was the flexibility of these legs. Would they bow inwards, and would they flex when you put something heavy on them? And they don't. If they did, what I was going to do was take a piece of 1/8 inch, a 1 inch tall, 1/8 inch thick flat bar, and weld it here, go across and weld it there, and it would just be like this little piece that came across. And then you could even put a shelf on top of that, and have a shelf that was all the way across. Put your tools and stuff on, but I'm not going to do that at this point. They seem strong enough. Another thing, I haven't put any feet on these guys yet. They're just the legs. I've tested them out real quick in the grass, and they do sink into the grass quite a bit. So I'm going to put probably just a couple of large washers. I'll socket weld them on. So I think that's it. If you have any design ideas or suggestions, I'm probably going to make another set of these a little bit differently in the future. And maybe I'll even take this same 2x4 tubing and make it so that you can have 2x4 legs instead of these round bar legs. And should be really good. Oh, before I go, I did contemplate putting 2 holes either in the top here or possibly in the sides for screws to keep it all nice and rigid. I haven't done that. I still might do that, but as it is, they don't slide around, so I think I'm just going to leave them like they are, and I can always just take and drill a couple of holes in there in the future. It's not a really difficult thing to do. So on that note, build yourself a pair. Have a good day.